Morris. Hi, honey. No need to run off. I'm coming nice and slow. Nice and slow. Hi. Hello. That's a good Morris. That's a good boy. Okay, you eat. Won't slow up Marty if I pet on him. There's a squirrel up there eating the berry nuts on that tree. Cute. So I told you yesterday that we wouldn't be walking the trails this morning, but we'd be doing some walking. And we're headed to the North Carolina Transportation Museum in Spencer, North Carolina for an antique truck show. They're going to have tow trucks and fire trucks and other kinds of trucks there today, plus their normal exhibits, which are extensive train-wise, and antique car-wise too, actually. A couple of old aircrafts, a Wright Brothers replica of the original plane from Kitty Hawk. We've been many times before. It's always a good time. And should be good weather for it today. Not too hot, not too cold. There's a small chance of rain late afternoon, but I don't think it'll be a downpour. Hi, Sweet Pea. Hi. Hello. You're not eating. Did you have you some other alternate breakfast this morning? I hope not. Yeah, with the dry chow. I only have the special urinary tract stuff, and I don't have the other stuff to mix in. I was out of it. And it's probably coming on Subscribe and Save in a week, and she's probably a little put out that she doesn't have her normal dry chow. But you know what? If she's hungry enough, she'll come back and eat what's here. It's about the same distance to the Transportation Museum as it is to C4EE, where we were earlier in the week. It's going to be a little over a 200-mile round trip. And with the supercharger in Siler City, it'll be easy peasy. Alright, let's map out our destination. So I'm going to put in NC Transportation Museum is 91 miles. And I'm sure that Ruby's going to route us up 401 or 6 over to the back roads over to 64. That's not exactly, but that's close how we normally get the 421 to go up. And then, wow, it takes us up to Greensboro and then back down on I-85. I did not think it was going to do that. I just assumed we were going to get on 64 and come across. Well, we'll have to decide if that's how we want to go. It says that's 123 miles. I expected this part here, and then I expected 64 across and hop on, and that's probably what I'm going to do. But when we add in coming back home, it's going to have us charge in Siler City today. There's just no way around it. Home, 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 sweetie. But that's not the right order. Alright. It's thinking. I actually think it figures all this stuff out really quick. Oh, it says Lexington, huh? It's still thinking. So, NC Transportation Museum. Why isn't it showing me the other stop? Well, anyway, it does show this as an... So, it's really funny. It has us making it basically a figure 8, sort of. Has us charging in Lexington. Well, we'll have to see when we leave. That's obviously an option. But we'll have to see when we leave if we can hit Siler City. Because we were probably going to eat at the Smithfields in Siler City. And not that we can plug in and eat at the same time, because they're just that much too far apart. But we have 198 miles worth of range. We didn't charge Ruby above 80%. But the important thing is, there we go, I got it to scroll up all the way. The important thing is it has us getting down to the Transportation Museum at 26%. I had actually thought at doing a super quick bathroom run in Siler City, plug in for 10 or 15 minutes. But we'll see. So Dawn switched it up to stop at Siler City on the way. It's still calculating. Let's scroll down here because we're probably going to need a bathroom stop, and there. It has us charging for 5 minutes, but then still coming back and stopping through Archdale on the way home. So
that's because I didn't remove that stop.
Right. Well, it switched though from Lexington to Archdale. It actually switched. You know, it added that one in on its own. So anyway, obviously if we charge a little longer here, we could either avoid it on the way, this stop on the way home, and come back that way and then only stop in Siler City again if we need to. So it's still not quite right, but we're gonna leave, go the back way, stop at Lexington, which is basically near 64 and I-85 on our way down to Salisbury, use the restroom, charge up a bit. And then when we come home, we probably don't have to stop. But if we do, we're going to be in Siler City, so we'll just charge up a little bit there. That should be fine. This stop it put in, it has us charging for 0 minutes, which we agree we don't need to charge, but we're going to want to use the bathroom and all that good stuff. Anyway, let's go. It'll figure it out. We know we've got plenty of range to get over there to our destination today, and that's really all we needed to know. That and a place on the way back that we can also make, and we know that too. So I know we always say do what the car tells you to do, and then I guess we end up not doing exactly what the car tells us to do, but we don't ignore it telling us we need to charge, which is really what we're meaning when we say do what the car tells you to do. It's just that there are so many supercharger options now that which one is you know, not a given, or doesn't, it's not a, you either stop at that one or you're not going to get your charge. We've got, I don't know, 6 different superchargers, maybe as many as 10 we could choose to charge at today. I mean, Burlington and Mebane and Durham aren't out of the question, and Lexington, Archdale, Siler City, you know, there's just so many options today. And what we're doing is, where can we use the bathroom quick? Which one has easier on and off access to our driving route? Do we want to take the scenic route or the highway faster route? The shorter miles or the faster speed? You know, these are all of the things that we are considering. We're having an atypical weather pattern for us. The rain is actually coming off of the ocean on land, inland, today versus coming over the mountains and heading to the ocean. So the farther we get away from Raleigh towards Spencer, which is in the direction of Charlotte, in the direction of the middle of the state, the less clouds and rain chance we have. There's a small rain chance this afternoon. No, squirrel, no, no, no. He went back out of the way. He's back there just as now he's crossed the road. Thank goodness. Anyway, our weather's supposed to be fine. I think we have a 20% chance of rain down at Spencer around 3 o'clock this afternoon, and that's not going to be a downpour. That would be just, you know, some sprinkles. And there are some inside exhibits there, so we're good. We're good. All right, here's the drone footage location at the front of the video right here, going over Sharon Harris Lake. I guess it's just Harris Lake. They kind of shortened it. People couldn't spell Sharon, S-H-E-A-R-O-N.
Yeah, it's funny.
There's the power plant over there. But anyway, y'all ought to sort of be familiar with this bridge, since it's at the start of every video. I'm driving right now. I haven't seen any bicyclists this morning. This is like bicycle haven out here for people wanting to do long distance.
That's right. This road and the next one is absolutely correct.
And there's the park where you can do the nice hike out to see the cooling tower. You can get in and out in about 3 miles and have a great view, but it's just all the way around the peninsula is a 5-mile hike. If you go all the way around, do it when it's dry. So we're on US 1 now, headed south to pick up 421, and we've got a Model Y behind us. So we've made it up to Highway 64 now, and Dawn actually put in the sheets in Asheboro as our destination so we can do a coffee exchange and Johnny can get a little something for breakfast, lunch, because it will be, you know, much later in the day by the time we hit Smithfields. Traffic's been fine. zoo since before COVID. It's a combination of COVID, been there, done that, kids getting older, hard to sync up with Michelle, all of that good stuff, but I'm itching to go back. All right, we're passing the Siler City Supercharger. There's really not good restrooms right at the Supercharger here, so otherwise we probably would have just pulled in and...
Yeah, I would say that the Siler City Supercharger is more of a location when we're stretching it to get home that we would tend to hit really fast to get us the rest of the way home. More so as a little less, of course, somehow we started off on a trip and we were close to dead, then we would obviously stop going this direction. We would stop, but it's more of a safe spot that we can count on the way back if we happen to come in from a lower charge and misguess on how much we're going to need or something. A plan B, a stop, I guess, is what I would call it.
It's quite convenient though, because when we travel west out the back way, we're often going to be coming past here. We're in Ramseur now, where the speed limit is 35. Ruby's dinging at me because I still have to acknowledge going through stoplights on autopilot. It's a little more rain than I was expecting right now. But we're still plenty far away from Spencer.
Oh yeah, we're halfway there.
All right, so there's where you park at the Sheets when the Sheets doesn't have a supercharger. Okay, Ruby's updated our arrival percentage for the Transportation Museum to 31%, and it's not very hot today. As a matter of fact, with this rain we're running through at this location at 66, so we're gonna head straight on down to the Transportation Museum, and then she has us, I guess it's probably like 20 miles backtrack to Lexington, but on the way home, because we'll pick up 421 in Greensboro and head back to Siler City to that Smithfields and come in the back way. We're not going to be so late tonight that we want to avoid worried about deer and avoiding the back roads. So anyway, we're all good. Straight on to the Transportation Museum now. Wow, there's a tree across the road there last night. So we just checked the radar and it's actually not raining at the Transportation Museum, and when we're on US 64 headed west, and when we hit I-85 headed south to go down to Spencer, we're moving away from the rain. So we were just you know, a smidge curious. This is a little heavier than we would want to deal walking around, like almost totally an outside thing. So good news, it's not raining down there. Certainly driven in more rain today than I anticipated. There's the updated trip itinerary. You remember back in the day with AA and telling them you were going to go on a trip and a couple months out, and they'd send you this flip tick map thing in the mail that you would take with you? We did that one time, Dad did. Well, we just turned on to 85 South, and I think you can see it up there. There's a white Model Y, so basically we're following Jules. So we've just got 16 miles to our exit. The Model 3 found a place to spot, but the parking lot's pretty busy over here. They have a lot more parking than they used to have, and then the Boy Scout troop or some of the local nonprofits will have some parking up across from the front entrance too. Well, that's a lot of, well, it is a truck, well, let's just say it is a truck show today, right? So there's probably some extra trucks. We'll go up top because people might not know that there's more parking over here. Well, there's a Mach-E
and a Tesla.
And a Tesla. All right, we're across from the main museum entrance out here on Main Street in the shopping center parking lot. They're not charging today. Normally one of the nonprofits secures the lot and charges a small fee to park in here, but not today. Yeah, Spencer Shops, Grand Central. It's not doing so good though, despite all of the train museum stuff. There's like a dentist and the police department. We're basically parked right in front of the police department. That works for me. You know, I don't think that I knew that the Spencer Shops was a gift by Southern Railway to the state of North Carolina. That's cool. I know it's been here. I guess my first visit here was in the early 90s. It's Duplo sized bricks and pretty cool. Whoa, sorry, Johnny. I don't believe I've seen that before up here. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Johnny's comment was, I bet it runs, and you know what? I bet it runs too.
Because if you had to push it, it'd be a bear.
It looks very authentic. Now the police cruiser we've seen, there are several vintage police cars up here. Sometimes we see these at the NC State Fair. They move them in for the fair. And yeah, I think these are probably exactly the same ones that they move into the fair. Survivor and the Pine Tree State lounge car starts here. They are running train rides around the museum today. We'll see the trains in motion. We've done train rides in the past. Probably not going to try to hop on the short drive around the yard today. Yeah, I don't remember seeing this car in service here. This is the Survivor. F.W. Woolworth on the side, it says. There is a large restoration effort here on the back side of the roundhouse. Many a car restored here. N-scale railroading since 1974. North Carolina, North Raleigh Railroad Club. Our friends that visited us earlier this year, Mr. Dave, he's into model railroading and has some awesome layouts that he's built. And these are quite portable here. It's a very small chunk. I'm impressed with the size of the chunk. You can swap it around almost, it looks like, and you know, it's not a lot of weight. I'm not used to seeing them. But yeah, you can see Bo Morgan built one section and Larry Paffrath built another. These guys got to work out getting moved around all the time. You know, you get it looking just right, and then you got to move it and move it again. And this one apparently is under construction or repair. Complete for your winter village. So apparently this group does a lot to help people get started. I really like the compartmentalized, they call it a frame kit. I like that concept. Look at all the trains. There was an uneven floor there, quite uneven actually. Wow, the back shop is filled with exhibitors today, all kinds of model railroading stuff. Every kind of train t-shirt imaginable.
So I was telling my girl right here, you know, she's very pretty. She's got her Tesla hat on.
Yeah, gotta have future, you know, the future and futuristic.
Yeah, well, she's got this blingy stuff on her Jetson t-shirt. But I asked her, where's Astro?
I don't know, but Rosie's in the vehicle.
Rosie's in there, the robot.
Normally traveled in the vehicle. So.
That's right.
They left out Astro. How did they do that?
I don't know. Don't know. But this place is huge, and there's lots of people here today. If you're a model railroader, you're in model railroad heaven. Pretty cool stuff. But I already have all the expensive hobbies I want. I don't want any more expensive hobbies that cost money. I want hobbies that make money.
We're walking this way to see the steam engine. It says it's the Graham County Railroad Company, and Graham County is a county in North Carolina. There are 100 counties in our state. They're getting ready to do the turntable ride. We've done that before, so we won't do it today, but it's fun. if you come and you've never done it before, you certainly should do it once. When it starts moving, I'll point back over there. I forget how many stalls are here, but many. This is a significant historical location with the original roundhouse and turntable that still works. They had all of the Centennial, Norfolk, and Southern painted engines here right when they were celebrating it, and they had them all lined up on the roundhouse. It's an amazing aerial photograph. I will show you a picture of it later if I see it around. Some photographers that day with a drone. He said if you want a long ride, get on the end, and if you want a short ride, get in the middle. Think careful, it says, painted underneath there. But they do bring trains in and out of the roundhouse, and they use this all the time. They bring them out for events. Some of the restored ones are ones that they want to put on display around the roundhouse for special events, and then when they're done with them for the day, they use it to put them back where they need to go. They'll just go fully around one time. They're about at the halfway point now. At least I think they'll go all the way around. Maybe it's just halfway. All right. Wow. I'm loving it. Johnny's getting excited about the equipment now. It really is truck show weekend, but we're not sure if the weather messed up some of the setup, or if it's just on the other end of the museum, or what else is going on. If weather had messed it up, I guess I wouldn't be surprised. That is a beautiful engine. So if you go on the train ride, you typically pick it up way on the other side of the museum, and you come out over here and you go out the track this way just a ways up to where the real line is, the current, you know, freight line, Amtrak line, and then you back through the museum and back over to the other side. So it lasts probably 30 minutes. Never really gets up to speed though, because can't go too far on it. We're trying to figure this all out.
Have to go Google that when you get
yeah, if it's leaking a little water back here. It's not a coal tender, it's more like a water, maybe, I don't know. You know, it's not set up like a normal.
All the information I have is just from speculation based on.
Although I guess the coal could have been there.
Right, well, I was going by that, like you said, that's like a water, there's no place for, there's not.
So I just kind of assumed 1925 was the number of the train, but it was really made in February of 1925.
Well, no, steam-powered air brakes. They literally use the steam to brake it, I think.
It's possible.
As like steam in place of the air. I really wish we could actually get like for sure answers, but we don't.
Well, we'll ask the guy inside the roundhouse. Because it really appears to have a space for a small amount of coal. And then you can't quite see the door, but that's normally where they would put the coal in. We're just not sure.
I don't know. This is not my field. My guess is they took the drive shafts off. So this thing, they just couple an engine to it and move it around where it needs to go. They probably brought it here to be restored. I don't know. But if the drive shafts were hooked up, then the thing, when it moved, it would actually have to turn unless there was some kind of transmission or something, but that can break. So I think they took the drive shafts off because they don't want to turn this the steam engine over. The friction is too much just to move it.
Okay.
You know how steam engines have really
So basically we see lots of evidence that this one is not fully restored. But since they do restorations here, that's likely. Well, if I'm going to get on the train, I want one of these plush accommodations with the special fancy woodwork and soft seats and there's a bed and place for your clothes. What do you think about taking a bath going down the tracks? Not a shower, but a bath. They're giving tours today, but you have to wait to be escorted in by the volunteer. Wow. All the times we've been here, we've never got to come inside.
Charles Schwab purchased this car from the Pullman Company in 1902. And he purchased this for $40,000.
Wow, that's a lot for 1902.
1902. So if you look at today's market, it would probably be like $10 million. I don't know.
Oh my.
But this wood is dark Cuban mahogany wood.
JB will be impressed about the mahogany.
If you look at the designs on here, it's Gothic design. It's all hand carved. You have the inlays here.
What, they didn't have no CNC back then? The carpet?
And they didn't have plastic presses to, plastic.
And we think handmade, all handmade. Well, back then that's all they had. They didn't have anything but.
You have the stainless glass windows up top. These windows would open.
Yep.
This would be gold.
Oh yeah, this one is actually opened.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this would be 24 karat gold inlay paint.
Wow.
So it's 24 karat gold. We all paint now, but really gold back then. So it had pressure, because if you lose air pressure, the brakes are going to lock up.
Yeah, the brakes actually are held off by the pressure.
Exactly, held off by the air pressure. And if you get a brake, say a start a leak in the line, and you notice it's going down, well, you could take measures to go ahead and slow the train down and stop it before it came to a complete halt.
Did you say Charles Schwab?
Charles Schwab.
Okay, we all know who he is.
So he is, I'm not sure how he's connected to the Charles Schwab now, but Charles Schwab, like I said, he started out in the drafting department of what became U.S. Steel. And in 20 years he became president, so in 1902 he purchased this car. Back then it was a status symbol.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like, and he would use this kind of like people use private jets today.
That's right.
And this car, if you've been through Doris, that was James Duke's car. That was more functional. This was strictly for ornate, used for his family.
What year did he purchase this?
1902.
Okay.
1902.
Up in your stomping ground.
In 1920, it was converted to electric.
1912.
12? Okay.
You had gas lights before that.
He worked at U.S. Steel.
So it's only 10 years in service, and then they...
So where were you?
And how did they do that? They put batteries underneath and charged them up and then used it going down the track for the lighting?
That's right.
I
Okay.
was a technician.
Well, we all know there were electric cars in the early 1900s. They just didn't take off.
Right,
But I worked right on the blast
incandescent
furnace.
lamps and stuff like that. Gaslight was
Pennsylvania.
more
Gary.
ubiquitous prior to the turn of the century.
Okay.
Edison electrified America,
So I'm
right?
guessing he
So by
I'm not sure
1912
where
it
the
was
headquarters-
everything. It was pretty much
So there was
the thing
U.S.
to
Steel
have.
other
I'm
places.
noticing the baseboard heat.
Say it's my train car.
I'm sure these are
You guys are
leather.
my friends. Like I said, well, go ahead and
The
take
wife's
this car.
bedroom.
Yeah. Brass beds. You have the, the reading lights the whole round. Now this
It's
appears,
obviously a small space.
this appears to be a seat.
Oh wow, a personal toilet. I'm impressed.
Oh my.
Oh, and a sink. Wow.
That place to put a bar of soap to boot.
They thought of everything.
They did.
Conveniences. So this is the common bathroom.
All the wood is so beautiful.
It is. I mean, I've been through here several.
But that was quite a jostle.
Oh well. They probably only did it while they were stopped.
And this is obviously the husband's, Schwab's room, because it's blue.
Because remember, they had to stop every 100 miles to refill up the water.
So you just wait for them to stop and then take the bath then,
My
probably?
guess,
That'd
my
be your
guess.
guess? Wow, I do love the ceiling. In blue and pink.
He was related to John Hay, who was Secretary of State back in the 1900s, early 1900s. These are
A little more lit up in here. You can appreciate the blue.
So it's done in early 1900 cursive writing, which I can pick out some letters,
Sure.
some words. But this
That's
is
the translation.
That's the translation. The Springs family down in South Carolina. Are y'all familiar with
Textile.
textile?
Springs, okay.
Springs
Spring mills,
textile.
okay. Sure.
Maiden form sheets and towels.
Yep, spring made.
Spring made.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Colonel Springs, he was a World
Table
War
seats
I
12.
That's why he put this long table in here.
Right.
So, have y'all ever heard of Gypsy Rose Lee?
These are
She's like
beds
a designer
for
back
children.
back a railroad man. She had model trains in her basement. So she came down here and actually stayed on this car for a period of time with her son. She became the emblem for the Maiden Form Springs, cotton, sheets,
Okay.
towels, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So if you look at this table, you'll notice Gypsy Rose Lee in various poses. So
Oh.
that's,
What the pattern is.
yeah, and you know, for back then, this
That's
would
pretty
be
risque.
risque for
Yes,
back
ma'am.
then.
Yeah,
Today,
they're
you know,
showing
it
garters.
would be another day, but back then it would be.
And that would have been, the guys would have really liked to attend business meetings in this. They would have been staring at the table the whole time.
Yeah, so yeah.
So
you
who
know,
was she now? Other than she was...
Actresses on stage, right?
I know, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, Gypsy Rose Lee.
Yeah, she was a burlesque
Okay.
person, I think, is the
But also associated with the Spring family.
Yeah, she was a railroad fan.
Okay.
Yeah, he had, I mean, I think Bobby John made it to the museum in 1978 and underwent a $200,000 renovation.
So it's literally been here since the state received the property in '77 almost, right? It was one of the first exhibits maybe?
So for a while, it would have been, they had taken to different locations to do the work on it.
Sure.
Sure.
Because, you know, it takes a lot of expertise about particular
Aspects, yeah. The mechanical versus the interior versus, yeah.
So that's who would have done this.
Is someone else bringing a tour through? Okay.
These would be reading lights.
Oh, okay.
I think at some point.
This
Yeah, this would.
has a
slide
hinge.
up And the light would come out.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you can see.
So you
Huh.
see,
Obviously,
you know,
we used to have curtains because we have curtain hooks.
Oh, I'm sure.
Porter, cook, this gentleman would stay up in this part of the train. We moved from mahogany to oak, and obviously not as restored or beautiful to begin with quarters.
Yeah. Aluminum or steel stainless.
Instead of brass, we have a more basic
refrigeration unit.
piece of baseboard here.
Wow.
Yeah. No more
And I
brass.
guess
Yeah.
where's this,
Probably.
that stove?
It would have been over here.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
been-
sink,
it's not here anymore,
refrigeration. Okay.
but it's covered.
So this must be
And
the
now it's
Okay,
oak.
and this is where
It's
it's-
switched to
right oak
because
instead of mahogany. Yeah,
Right, chimney for.
Oh, yeah,
definitely
yeah.
not as ornate, but still for the time, comparison to what we have today in craftsmanship, it's quite nice.
Train
Okay.
stops.
It's a pass-through to the other side,
People
so-
would come through, and they called them Harvey girls. So I think
I would
that's
come
right
here
word.
with the kids, and this is sort of meant to be I couldn't get them out of here. They just wanted to hang out and play at the switchboard to pretend that they were sending the trains down the track or running this, switchboard. This brings back memories. Centralized traffic control board, ever constructed in 1948. Single operator could control the entire 248 miles of the Richmond-Raleigh Hamlet line on the seaboard route. The machine and its associated 248 miles of underground cable took the place of traditional traffic control methods. And here's one of the operators. It was actually in Raleigh, I guess, and this one has been moved to the museum. Installed in Raleigh, it even says that. So now, this takes the place of it, right?
That's us right here.
Right.
Historic Spencer
Just
Shops.
letting us see, because we are very close to the real freight Amtrak, Norfolk and Southern in production, real commercial traffic. But yeah. Is this a microphone on the accordion looking arm, Donnie? Really? I don't remember paying attention. I see the little telegraph, little clicky switch over here. I don't know what the real word is. When my dad did ham radio, I called it the clicker, the clicky switch. I think that's telegram. Dad knew Morse code, and he would sometimes use the mic, but often he would just send Morse code to people he was talking with on the ham radio. WA2LSQ back in the day out of New Jersey. There are two of these. The Southern serves the South engines here. One is here and one is on the other side of the shop. These have been here since the early 90s. The museum's had them for a long time. This is the farthest corner of the roundhouse from the exhibit area in the back shop, and this is where they do the restoration work. So when you come from time to time, there'll always be various and different engines and/or cars being restored. Restoring the collection, much of the rolling stock at the North Carolina Transportation Museum has been meticulously restored to working order, preserving important pieces of railroad history. I could not agree more. So there is some serious equipment down there for metalworking and yeah. Well, not as much being worked on today as one might would have thought, but they always have ongoing projects. So when New York tycoon J.P. Morgan needed a leader for the newly organized Southern Railway, he turned to a talented young railroad man from Georgia named Samuel Spencer. Under his care, the railroad earned a profit of $896,000 in its first year, 1894 through 95. In his initial annual report, Spencer noted the urgent need for another large repair facility. When the new complex opened in 1896, it was named in his honor. So it's always been Spencer shops. I didn't pay attention to this either. I was telling Johnny by the time I got back to this part with the kids when they were super small, there was no time left for reading historical markers. And I was usually also very focused on taking pictures and not so much on reading. Section of the roundhouse is dedicated to airplanes. You know, this is the Transportation Museum, not really the Train Museum. And there's a lot of history of Piedmont Airlines, and they also have some what's the other airline name, Donnie, that we don't have anymore? I want to say Eastman. Eastern, yeah, and they're both.
The big one here.
Yeah, and of course this is a replica of the Wright brothers plane that they flew at Kitty Hawk. The whole debate over the, real first flight and who really owns the title, but our license plate says it, so we'll go with that, right, Donnie?
Yeah, well, I don't think they doubt that we flew here. It's
right.
Just the home of aviation is probably Dayton.
This is the Curtiss Wright DeHemel flight duplicator. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. Somewhere between 1920 and 1939, Viola Gentry was the first native North Carolina female to get her pilot's license. She set several world records over the next decade. And here is Margaret Raines, Eastern Airlines stewardess, shown in her galley in 1947. I really like it that they took the time to put up some contributions from women in history. And this is a whole model of Spencer shops. Everything that's here. All the way out to where it hooks up with the rail lines running back behind. So what is that one? Okay, light up the blacksmith shop for me. Okay. It ran up until 1960 as part of the railroad, and like I said, in 77 it was donated and to the state, and the museum status was started. Back in the day when you would come, it was all of the buildings weren't restored like they are today. It took them a long time. That big back shop building, it took a long time before they let people in there. After leaving the Air Force, Piedmont Airlines hired Bill Wilkerson on April the 15th, 1974, and in 1980 he became the second African American the second African-American captain with the airline. After the merger with U.S. Air, Captain Wilkerson became the first flight manager of the Boeing 737-300-400 program, responsible for over 300 aircraft and the training of over 1,800 pilots. In 2004, he left the training department to fly the Airbus 330 to European cities, retiring in November 2006. He was awarded the North Carolina Flight Instructor of the Year Award for 2010 by the FAA, and he was inducted into the Tennessee Aviation Hall of Fame. So this is the motor out of a diesel electric. How can it be diesel and electric?
I'll explain in a minute, but I lost. So this is two-stroke, right?
Probably.
This looks very two-stroke to me.
Yeah, this is a modern enough engine. It's small enough to be. It's just that the four-stroke diesel is just, there's no advantage to it.
What was that small? Oh, flight attendants and captains and everyone was smaller. Yep, Americans are definitely larger now. It comes up in aviation with regard to weight and seat size and stuff all the time. Can you believe that? Virginia Lane was a Piedmont stewardess fired for getting married. Her lawsuit against the airline resulted in age and marriage restrictions being declared illegal. She became a stewardess in 1964 and broke her contract with the airline by marrying G.F. Colvin on Saturday, June the 23rd, 1966. The next Monday, she received a letter thanking her for her service and listing her resignation date as the day of her wedding. Lane sued the airline and wrote to Congress for support, and in 1968, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission issued 3 rulings on airline age and marriage policies, declaring such discrimination illegal. Cheryl Peters was Piedmont's first female pilot, hired in 1974. Carol Fair helped Virginia Lane advocate against marriage restrictions and got married after such policies were declared illegal. Wow. And that was just in the 70s. And wow, that was in the 60s, so, 50-ish years ago. This is why Elon excites me. Real American innovation. It's been a while. Feels like it to me anyway. So obviously the engine that would normally be here is out and about right now and will be put back later today. Same thing over here. I assure you at night this thing is pretty much always full. One year I was here with the kids before they stopped allowing everyone in the caboose, and we must have played in it for an hour. I have some really great pictures. You bench testing?
Yes, bench testing. That's correct.
They're good. If they think I'm going to be a while, they just sit down and wait patiently. I really appreciate it. They're trained. They know me. For a girl that drives her electric car and likes it quiet and smell, smoke, smog free, I really do appreciate fast airplanes and old trains. It's about the point where Don owes me a trip to an air show. It's been a few years. He's good for one about every 3 or 4 years, as long as it's not the hottest day of the year. I'm ready for an air show.
Wow. We saw those at Carthage. We saw all those tractors, and they're really big.
Yep.
Until you get up against the steam locomotive, then they don't seem quite so big.
I agree with that. He pointed out that this one's electric. It sure is. Oh, Johnny, we can go up the stairs here and peek in. It even has like an electric lightning bolt symbol on it. So similar to what we saw when we did the full throttle on the J611, right? They've got some fake fire lighting going on in there for simulation, which is quite authentic looking and very cool. And you could have an engineer on both sides. And so B is the firebox. Where's A, Johnny? You see it? Well, the only letter I see from this list that's easy for me to see is the... Okay. So F is the Johnson bar. E is the direction lever. Do you see another letter? Okay, D is the water level gauge. C is the water pump. And G for the brakes. Do we see the brakes? Probably down.
Here's E.
There's E. I'm sure G is labeled. I don't know.
G way up.
Okay,
C way up higher.
C is up there. That's the water pump. And I think the only letter we didn't find was G. C, water pump on both sides. Okay. Well, very cool. And then, of course, behind us would have been the coal. No coal today. Huh. To be clear, that's the one we were standing up in the engine. I got Don and told him it was well worth climbing the stairs for. Don found the brake. You just couldn't see the letter from the side.
Here, I'll cruise around here fine. I see it next time.
Right. Well, I tried. I was filming and it wasn't happening. M County was used in the mountains and the forestry industry, and it just has a small coal tender on it. And it's a Shay, S-H-A-Y engine.
It was built in Ohio.
Okay. Will it be restored? Is it like in the plans if people donate for it, or they want?
Yes. We have just now, the gentleman's name was Red, who was incidental in bringing it here in the first place.
Uh-huh.
And he recently passed away because of cancer, and we're starting up the new funding program to get that back on.
Okay. Way cool.
That was our last running steam engine that we owned here.
So apparently we're allowed inside this caboose. It's been a while. I love it when you come in and it's bright at the other end. Really awesome lighting. Okay.
This is the caboose, huh?
Yeah, well, this may be the one the kids used to play in it. It's very familiar to me. And it may only be open up today because it's Member Appreciation Day, and they have a lot of extra people around to help keep everybody safe. This was a fire engine for Fieldcrest Cannon, and for those not from North Carolina, you know, we grew a lot of cotton in the state, and we used to have a lot of textile mills, refining. And I can see where the cotton mill could catch on fire, so it makes total sense that they would have their own fire equipment. 64 and a half, what's that mean? Huh? Yep. So since this is the Transportation Museum, they do have a limited number of classic cars showing the evolution of the automobile. Clear, what they've done here is they've put one or more cars for each manufacturer. So Ford, Chevrolet, DeSoto, Studebaker, Edsel. I like everything with the tail fin. Oh, it's talking about the Fireflight was introduced in 1955 as DeSoto's flagship model. It was wider and longer than previous DeSoto models, and it came equipped with a V8 engine producing 200 horsepower when equipped with a 4-barrel carburetor and PowerFlight automatic transmission. In 1958, a new, more powerful engine was introduced, and in 1959, the car was restyled. As was the trend in the late 50s, the distinctive tail fins became more prominent. I love tail fins. Those are so cool. My dream car is a 1959 Cadillac converted to electric by Counts Customs out of the Vegas area. The older cars are down on this end from the 20s. This is the 1920s section. Charlotte Motor Speedway, baby. Well, it's a Shell station. That's a big Shell. My understanding is this is still standing, and we could go get Ruby's picture beside it. Saving a piece of Americana. Original Shell, still important in the neighborhood. I think it's in, yeah, it's in Winston-Salem. I'm really impressed with Johnny today. He's reading a lot of the signs, and he says that this one is electric. Roush and Lang electric, the original backseat driver. Instead of a steering wheel, the BX7 has a tiller level which steers and a single lever for power and brake. Push forward, it connects the batteries to the motors and pulled back, it slows the car using a drum brake on the motor shaft. The car can travel 25 miles per hour in forward or reverse. Both front and rear seats have identical controls, making possible the first literal backseat driver. All right, here you can see the tiller bar in the front and the back. All right, so this is Doris. James Buchanan Duke.
The Duke family got their start in business in tobacco. Their original start was warehousing. The farmers would bring their tobacco to them, and then they would store it and sell it. Later on, they got into manufacturing. They started off with chewing tobacco, and then they had one of the first mechanical cigarette rolling machines.
Sanitary cigarettes.
And the father, William Duke, formed the company William Duke and Sons with his sons James and William. And later on, that became the American Tobacco Company. There were at least 5 on the Yadkin River, and I don't know how many on the Catawba, but they all generated electricity. And then there were at least 5 of these coal-fired plants, which were all identical to that. Eventually, Duke owned them all and formed Southern Electric. Also, at one point, the family, steel, the whole thing, not made out of wood, it was stainless steel. Stainless steel had been invented in 1912, so it was very innovative. The other thing was very useful because it had been easy to keep clean. Duke smoked 24 cigars a day, so there would have been a lot of smoke in here when he did that.
Wow. This car cost $38,000 in 1917.
Yeah, $38,000. And somebody ran the numbers out, and we decided that was for 2018. We decided a couple years later we just up it to $800,000.
Yeah, the other one was 1902, and it was $40,000.
1917.
No, Loretta.
I don't know.
I think he said it was $40,000 in 1902.
That's wrong. Well, it's a much more elaborate car. And again, Duke was going for practicality and comfort, not for to be ostentatious.
Sure. The dials in this car. So it's a similar setup, he said. There's 2 bedrooms and a bathroom in between, but again, not ostentatious like the other car. Not as pretty. Well, that's a reasonable size bed. I guess if you're 6'5", it's not so good, but here's a sink. Not hidden away. Another sink and the shower stall this time. Yeah, standard shower stall. Toilet, actual toilet is behind me.
Yeah, and they can get in and out of the toilet
without coming into the bedroom. Sure. This car is fitted with another room dedicated to bunks. Kids. Again, less ostentatious, more practical. The train's going past outside the window. And another room to sit in. And I guess in a real pinch, if you had to, who cares that other people are in the room, right? Gotta go, you gotta go. Maybe they stepped out to help each other out in a smaller table area. And the seating area in this train is smaller.
And this the dining room table.
The guy giving us the tour said that Dan Quayle used this car when he did his whistle stop tour across North Carolina.
Yep.
And he said libation has been enjoyed here for North Carolina legislature trying to get money for the museum. And this was Duke's desk. And there is a who's been on the train signature, and this book does have Dan Quayle in it. Yeah, updated with a microwave for modern convenience, and the guys, the porter and the chef, they slept in there. This was their living accommodations. I suppose the bathroom is over there to the left. I think I see a shower. Guess this Pullman car is still stainless steel, which they did not restore the Duke car back to stainless steel so much. New York, New Haven, and another city name I couldn't see, but the Pine Tree State. New York, New Haven, and Hartford. And this is the Survivor, but he said possibly this one is only open to members. For members today, you can go sit in the air-conditioned car if you need to. I told Dawn instead of buying tickets, we should have bought a membership. I wasn't really stopping, but they were apparently. Southern Railway telephone booth. Be careful. Okay, it can stop tinging now. They're demoing the switching railroad arms over there, whatever the right word is. So there aren't as many trucks here as I thought there would be today, but we've gotten to do some unique opportunities touring the Pullman cars and having the volunteers with their information, so totally worth it. Okay, there's a button over there, so if you want to see it do its thing, you can push the button. I'm over it now. So this is 1994, carrying a 1977. This is a 1936, carrying something older, probably. House movers, Thomasville, North Carolina. The license plate says 46. You gonna make the other one go now? Well, you can actually see the bell up at the very top. Cool. And offhand, I don't see a year on that one. Maybe the license plate again. So what makes this one special?
It looks like it's stainless steel.
Yeah, we used to see a lot more steel on the highway, probably for durability and, I don't know. Yeah. But not so much anymore. I suspect partly because it's blinding.
They do that, but I'm saying like
No, just multi-year on the trailer. So I don't know. Some guys over there that probably know about all the trucks. The depot here, Barber Junction, is where you purchase tickets for the train ride and load up for your trip. Like I said, we've done it several times before, and Don and I took an excursion in one of these cars over to the North Carolina mountains and back, basically over to Biltmore and back in a day. I was just curious what they were pulling it with today. Very special people that get to go on the caboose. I don't know that I've seen this engine before. I was just curious what was pulling the train today. Very cool. So they'll go out a ways up to the Amtrak main line and then they'll reverse back through. Operated by B&H, Beaufort and Moorhead Railway. Okay. It's 2:59 p.m. They're probably taking off at 3. He just honked the horn. I don't know, I don't want to stand out here in the hot sun too long, but I would like to see it move. Oh, a few of the trucks are leaving. morning, Donnie, but I can't quite get up there in time. You get it for me. Hi, everybody. Don's got the good video up top. Wow, he sounds like he's struggling. This truck's from 1960. Gentleman there in the red shirt is the owner operator. He drove it for 30, owned it for 50. He's carried a dinosaur. It's out of California, so it has a really long wheel base there from the trailer, and that's to stretch out the weight so that you would comply with California laws for hauling. Great Seal of the State of North Carolina. May the 20th, 1775, April the 12th, 1776. Cone. Fabrics for the family since 1895, and I guess this is their exhibit. Hauling cotton. You got to be in North Carolina, baby. 1940s Toledo scale. These box cars were used in Greensboro. It says Lee, Oshkosh, Health Techs, Land's End, Sears, Bassett, Covington, Lazy Boy, Broyhill. Yeah. Walking up to Ruby here and pulled pretty far in that space. Alright, until next time.
Yeah, enjoyed it very much.
We've got 68 miles of rated range, and it's predicted that we'll get to the supercharger with 21% left, so it's going to take not much to get to the supercharger.
We had a really good time. It's a beautiful day, and this drive going back this direction always reminds me, this is where we saw our very first Tesla. I was driving, I think we were probably in the minivan, and we were coming back from the museum, and we were just bebopping along, and all of a sudden I said, hey, I think that's a Tesla. And I think that was probably the first time Kit ever heard the word Tesla, as far as I know. And I remember speeding up and watching it. It was a Model S. It was kind of a gold color.
Yeah, I think it was titanium.
Titanium, yeah. But anyway, that was goodness gracious. The boys were just little. That would have probably been 2015-ish time frame.
So Don and I have never been on this little stretch of 285, and we're getting off at exit 86 here, which is marked Business 29 in downtown Lexington. So it's 0.1 miles to the left after we exit. So it's a Sheetz, and it's on Grimes Boulevard.
Yeah, Elon picked this one out special for Grimes.
Which way into the Sheetz?
I would just turn here.
Okay. Just making sure that wasn't a turn and then can't turn. It was hard to tell.
Yeah, well, they don't usually let you go in and out both ways.
Right here at the back. Oh, and oh joy, they're angled. And coming in from this way, it's the wrong angle. Oh well. All right, hopefully I'm back far enough. There's no bump stop here, so you gotta guess. And that's the second one Second one, just enough. If it was any tighter, I'd have to get them back up more. It really looks big in the rear view camera. All right, it's flashing green. We're good to go. No, you couldn't see that, but oh, yeah. I think it said to continue our trip. It was estimated charge time 20 minutes. It said 35 minutes the last time I looked. It is what it is. We're the only ones here. We're up at 152 kilowatts now, 53.
Which is about pretty close to what Ruby can charge at.
Yeah, yesterday, when we were plugged into the level 2, going up to the solar farm, 154.
Yeah.
Well, we're not super low state of charge. We're at like 20%. 57 miles is about 20%. Ruby is a hot puppy. She did no preconditioning, even though she knew she was coming to the supercharger. She's plenty warm. And get my purse out of the back here. I'm gonna go in. And not only is Ruby cooling, but the supercharger's cooling too. Still getting 90 kilowatts. I'm back to the car now. Johnny got pineapple soft serve ice cream. I was gonna split one with Dawn, but that means we've been parked for 15 minutes. The fact that Teslafy sent a message is exactly 15 minutes. But they were out of the chocolate and vanilla soft serve. So we have unsweetened iced tea. It was just its plan to try to keep us on track. We think we've decided to stop at home and bring Smithfields to the house and eat it instead of stop on the way. I guess it all depends on how I'm feeling coming through Siler City.
That's right.
If I'm feeling too sleepy, we might stop.
That's right. We can do whatever.
So basically it's going to take us through Thomasville, High Point, over to Greensboro, and then south on 421 down to Siler City, which will get us back to 64, which we would take back over to the house. So 20 minutes right when it said, estimated originally, it said that we could move on our way, but I told Don I want to give it 5 more minutes because we're going to go into Fuquay and through the drive-through, and I haven't calculated any of that, and he's just going to go use the restroom and then we're going to take off. So I like an extra 5-minute cushion. I'm already here, I'm already plugged in, that's just how I roll. Although the car's very accurate, if we were going straight to the house like we told it, then I wouldn't hesitate to leave right when it said to leave. We were so efficient today, we just left the AC on full blast.
Yeah.
Go unplug us, we're down to 66 kilowatts, it's time to fly. Thank you. So it's 4:16. It shows us getting home at 6:07. We just ignore the Siler City Smithfields, home at 27%, but we're going to drive into Fuquay, like I said, and get the Smithfields and take it to the house, most likely. So if it's your first time stopping at Lexington and you're ready to pull out and you're like, can I go to the left the way I came in, or should I go to the right? How do I get out of this place? The answer is go to the right. Yeah. Because if you go to the left, the car tells you can make a left-hand turn, but there's a cement median there and you cannot make a left-hand turn. And then when you can get up at the stoplight to make the left, the U-turn is super tight and there's a big rut in the road, and I ended up just not trying to deal with that and going a good half a mile out of our way to get going in the right direction. So go right when you pull out of the supercharger over to the stoplight. Save yourself some hassle. Both the guys have had a nap, and we're about halfway home. And I guess we're going to stick with the plan to skip the Smithfields and Siler City. Well, we've seen lots of signs that it has rained, like that line along the side of the road here is wetness, but we haven't actually run into any rain on the way home, so that's good. Maybe we can make it to the house without rain, although I had several alerts today for rain at the house, so it's definitely possible it rained there. It was supposed to rain more there than it did down at Spencer, so. Well, the nice thing about coming home this way is that we're going over Jordan Lake and it's gorgeous.
It is very pretty.
All right, we're home and we've got Smithfields.